Hello, we're carrying on now with some more Arthur Miller. We're not a whole Miller, Arthur Miller. And today we're going to be thinking a little bit about what Arthur Miller is saying about the American dream in Death of a Salesman. The American dream, a land of opportunity, new avenues being opened up. A meritocracy where people who work hard can get themselves to the top of the pyramid, earn some money, and anybody who's anybody can try it, New York, the land of opportunities, the city of dreams. If you can make it there, you'd make it anywhere. Just all that stuff about America being a kind of wonderful level playing field of opportunity that isn't really true. I wonder if any of you, like me, were kind of introduced to the American dream through Fievel, an American Tale, early Disney picture from the 80s, where we were told there are no cats in America and the streets are paved with cheese, which I think still is a very kind of accurate, cynical, but accurate exposure of the failings of the American dream in cartoon format with mice as well, I have to say. Anyway, focusing back on the literature then, we have Arthur Miller trying to show us that the American dream has failed, that it's not a meritocracy, because unlike this diagram that you can see here on the screen, not everybody starts at the same place, and other people have ladders to help them up there. And why do they even need to get to the top anyway? So there are no cats in America, we were told, but there are fat cats is a problem. Not that type of fat cat. That type of fat cat. Business leader fat cat. The people at the top of the capitalist tree who own their businesses. Marx would call them the bourgeoisie, the owners of the means of production, your Mr. Burling type figures. And the problem with these fat cats is that they exploit the workers below them. They create systems and whole industries where people are no longer treated as individuals. So we don't have Death of Willy Loman, we have Death of a Salesman. What does he sell? We never find out. It doesn't matter. He's just generic. He's somebody who isn't important at all. There's a fat cat who is both of these things. So how does that actually happen? How do you go from businesses getting bigger to kind of swallowing things up? Well, part of it is because the country doesn't need all the little workers anymore. If you've read or studied of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck, have a little look at it if you haven't. You'll see that you're dealing with a time in America where all the little jobs done by all the little people were changing. If you take, for example, harvesting. Harvesting out in the fields, you need maybe 25 workers for an average size farm, 25 farm laborers. But then once the combine harvester can combine all those jobs into one thing, then you only need one person to operate the combine harvester, and those are the 24 people are laid off, so they are now jobless and have nowhere to go. And if they spent their whole life trying to build up to a career where they're going to one day own a ranch of their own, then the dreams, their entire systems of thought, have just evaporated and gone. Meanwhile, at the top, those people are fine. So what are we doing here? We're trying to alert people. Is Miller giving us a kind of Marxist awakening text where we can realize what's happened to people? That we are just the proletariat being used as workers? Willy Loman is like cannon fodder for capitalism, just being thrown away, indispensable, well, completely dispensable. Somebody who doesn't matter anymore. And so that brings a whole notion of the dream come crashing down. If you can't achieve anymore, if the parameters of success have changed, then that's it for you, really, in your life. When times are hard and when businesses and the system of capitalism starts to bring people down, you always need somebody to blame. And that happens in our world at the moment as well. And it's something that Willy Loman says pretty early on in the play as well, when he talks about how New York has gone up around him. He sees other people as competition, and this famous quote, "There's more people now. That's what's ruining this country. Population's getting out of control. The competition is maddening." But, you shouldn't really be referring to your fellow man as competition, first of all. So, you can be making notes about this or whatever. The fact that Willie is forced to see other human beings as competition and not as friends or comrades or companions or just people demonstrates just how invasive this mindset has been for capitalism, that he is trying himself to achieve success in a system that he can't possibly achieve, and everybody else is kind of against him. But that's not really the way it should be, is it? Anyway, you can see on here, you got a picture of Willie from production in the middle there. Nigel Farage, Trump, and all the other people who, when times are hard, instead of looking at what perhaps a real problem is, Marx would say, in terms of money and who owns that, we blame other people. We find our scapegoats. There's more people. The population is too bad. We need to worry about a couple of hundred people on boats crossing the channel, or we need to worry about Mexican immigrants. That's our big problem, not the massive kind of tax evasions and exploitation of the workers that's really going on in America and Britain, a Marxist perspective would say. Okay, so now I've talked for a bit, and I hope that I've kind of shown you some directions for what Marx is saying. It's your job now to find the best 3 quotations from the play that demonstrate the point that business is ruining humanity. Find 3 quotations, write them down, do some analysis of them and stuff, and I'll see you back here in just a mo. Okay, so that's the American dream dealt with, but Miller has a look at the American dream through the characters' actual dreams in terms of their hopes and aspirations within the play. So make no mistake about it, the dreams that Willy Loman has of success, Happy as well, his dreams to be successful, Linda's dreams to some extent, to just have a happy life. All of those dreams are a microcosmic examination of the failings of the American dream. They act on a smaller scale to be the unattainable kind of lie of the American dream. That's what Miller is doing. But what's he trying to say then about those dreams? What's his actual intention? I've got 4 interpretations for you here on the screen. Let's talk through them a little bit and then write down your order. Which of these do you agree with most in terms of what Miller is trying to do in Death of a Salesman? Is he saying at the top, don't believe in other people's dreams, have your own? Okay, the role models that Willie takes up from his brother Ben to Dave Singleman, these are the wrong dreams for him to have. Or is he saying dreams always fail? Is he saying be happy with what you've got? I mean, don't dream effectively. Or is he saying don't dream too big? Okay, 30 seconds to think about your order and then another 30 to jot them down. Go. Pause the video so it's not just me staring for 30 seconds and then unpause me and I'll start again in like a few. Yeah. Okay, so I'm sure you've got your reasons for your order there, which is great. I don't want you to just feel exactly the same as I feel. I want you to have your own ideas for stuff. But I'm just going to talk you through some of the things that I thought on here might just spark a little bit of debate or whatever with you. So, dreams always fail. I'm going to put that one at the bottom because I don't think that is really what Miller is trying to say. I think the wrong dreams fail. But I always think when you look at Charlie and Bernard as the barometer of Willie's success, you know, they're almost like a direct parallel, literally being next door. So it's not like they live in a completely different world and they have a completely different family, different start in life and stuff like that. It's not like that at all. But Bernard, although he never kind of said this, has achieved something really big in life. That is success. So I wouldn't necessarily say that dreams always fail, although they do for the Lomans by the look of it. Don't believe in other people's dreams, I think, is fairly important for me there. I think the example set by Ben, if it's even true, because we only ever obviously hear things through the filter of Willie, and we know that he makes up some of those conversations with Ben, because towards the end he discusses his suicide with Ben, and that cannot have happened, obviously, with Ben being dead years ago. It's not the right dreams to just copy and paste Ben's dreams onto him, or Dave Singelman's dreams as well, because Ben was extremely lucky, but also Dave Singelman lived in different times. The salesman world, it was a bit more respectful. It was a bit more rated back in the day, before competition changed, ways of working changed. The world has changed around Willie, and he hasn't adapted. So I don't necessarily believe that dream was never appropriate, but it was not appropriate for Willie. So I think taking it on and just absorbing it in his dream is a problem. And that's maybe a statement about the fact that we have an identity crisis in modern life, and certainly America in the 40s, an identity crisis of who actually are we? Am I just copying and pasting bits of other people's personalities and styles into my own dreams? That's kind of what Willie is doing, I would say. Don't dream too big, because it's not going to be achievable. Well, you could say that. I mean, the problem is if you're always saying, like Willie is in the play, I want to be top dog, I want to be top man, come out on top, I'll put my money on Biff, he's going to be great, he's going to be the best. Well, there's only one person who can be the best. If you think about the heavyweight champion of the world in boxing, there's only one person who can be that. And when you achieve it, everybody else wants to beat you there. So it's not a good thing to achieve that dream in a lot of ways. And it's a massive dream, but does it lead to happiness and success? Probably not. So I'm actually going to swap that with this one down here. And that hasn't worked. Neither is that. I'm going to put, here we go. Right. Okay. So this, I think, is my order. You can disagree with it. That's good, actually, if you do. But I'm going to put be happy with what you've got at the top there. Because if you actually think about what you want from your life in terms of happiness, a lot of people want love, a family, maybe your own children, if that's the direction you want to go in. Maybe a lifelong partner, a marriage like Willie and Linda. So actually, if you just have that dream to be happy, to have your own place, to have a job, and to have people who love you around you and living in your house, then that is a hugely achieved dream for Willie. But he doesn't see that as success at all. If he could just be happy with what he's got. And I'm sure there are a lot of very, very rich people who are unhappy, who would probably have changed position with him to have the dedicated wife that Linda is for all of her failings. She loves him. As we see in the early stage direction, she's like beyond love for him. She basically worships him. And he's had two boys who, if he would allow himself to, they would love him and have a great relationship with him. But because he always wants to go for different successes, different dreams to the ones he's already achieved without knowing it, he would be fine. Okay, so make some notes. As I say, have that order written down for what you think about these dreams. And of course, we're wrapping it all together into our concept of domestic tragedy as well. Nobody would look at Shakespeare's work and say, well, Hamlet, I'm not sure you should probably dream of being king of Denmark, because you already are prince, and things like that as well. It just hasn't come up. So what Miller's doing all at the same time here is he's rejecting those kind of classical Aristotelian views of tragedy, at the same time as lambasting capitalism for being a flawed system that forgets about its people. But more than anything, he's looking at the human condition and what it's like to be you and me, and people who have hopes and dreams and will one day look back at our life and judge whether it's a success or not, and the role that these external factors play in that. That's probably enough talking from me for now.